Hello children, welcome back. So we are back after so many days. Now I want to start with your macroeconomics chapter 1. Alright, so children, chapter 1 is very important because it has, in this we will discuss all the important terms and topics which we will discuss in the entire macroeconomics. Alright, so the concepts of this chapter I will give you point wise, and we will discuss gradually the entire chapter. Alright, so first I'll start with the macroeconomics. What is the meaning of macro? Macro means when we are studying the entire economy together. So that is macro. In class 11th you have studied about micro, where you have studied about a single enterprise, how the single firm is determining its price, what was the individual demand and supply. Alright, so when we will study about the aggregate demand and supply, when we will study about the total investment of the economy, so that will be macroeconomics, right? So macroeconomics, basically we discuss these things. First is the very important thing of macro which we discuss is national income. So how we will assess the national income? Through aggregate supply. Whatever will be the total supply in the market, that will decide the total income. Total production, total supply in the market, that will decide the income, right? Then the total consumption and investment. It is decided by the factor of aggregate demand. Whatever will be the total demand of the economy, that will be the consumption, and that will be the investment made for the purpose of production of goods and service. Alright, now next we will discuss the general price level of the economy. While discussing the general price level, we will discuss the inflation and deflation present in the economy. How to find out the inflation and deflation, what it is. So everything we will discuss under this. Then we will discuss the total output, or the total production, or the total production of goods and services, which is determined by the total employment. Whatever will be the employment of all factors of production, that will be the output. So you have seen that in a way everything is interrelated. Employment is related to output, price level, then consumption and investment is related to demand, the income is related to supply. See children, everything is interrelated in the economy. Later in this chapter we will see that how everything is equal, right? Flow is in a circular motion. One is going this way, the other thing is coming from that way. So we will discuss this in this chapter. But before we move ahead, let us see the difference between micro and macroeconomics. Alright, so when we talk about micro, we will talk about an individual person's demand, individual firm, what is the individual firm's supply in the market, how they determine the price, how they determine the profit. Alright, and here we will discuss the whole economy. Alright, here it is a price concept. Micro is a price concept, and macro is investment concept. Investment and employment. Alright, this is a narrow concept. This is a wider concept. Alright, so these are the few difference between micro and macroeconomics. We will discuss more later through notes. Alright, Now this is the difference. The other things of this chapter I will discuss point wise to make the things clear to you in a short way. So let us move on to the first concept. Okay. So as I have told you, let us discuss the first concept. Alright. As per the first concept, there are two types of goods: consumer goods and capital goods. Alright. Consumer goods are those goods which are finally used by the consumers. Alright. We go to the market, we purchase something and we consume it. Alright. So that is the consumer good. Capital goods are those goods which are used up by the producers, like the machineries, the various tools used in production work. So that is capital good. So this is the basic difference between consumer goods and capital goods. Now consumer goods are of various types. First one is single use good. Single use good like milk, bread. These are single use goods. Once we use and then it finishes. Alright. So these are single use. Then the next one is semi-durable goods. Semi-durable goods, they last for a year or half, like the furnishings. Alright. Or cloths which we buy. So these are semi-durable goods which last for 1 year or a half. Then the next one is durable goods. Durable goods are there with us, remain with us for a long period of time, like the television, refrigerators, etc. Alright. And then the next one is consumer services. The services which we avail, banking, insurance, all these are consumer services. So all these are the single use good, durable goods, semi-durable goods, consumer services are the part of consumer goods. Alright children, now we will move on to the next concept, concept 2, in which I have divided the goods into two more categories, that is final goods and intermediate goods. This is the division based on which we decide that which good has to be added to the national income and which is not to be added to the national income. Now final goods and services are added in the national income and intermediate goods and services are not added in the national income. Right? Now final goods and services. The finally which comes to the market and the consumer pays for those goods. It is of two types, consumer goods and capital goods. So final goods, the classification of final goods we have already discussed, consumer goods and capital goods. Intermediate goods which are used up in production work, which are not for final sale, right? Like the raw materials. The cloth which is purchased by the tailor to make shirt will be a intermediate good, right? When the retailer buys this shirt from the wholesaler, again it will be a intermediate goods. Then finally the retailer will add on to the cost of the shirt and then he will sell the shirt. Alright. At that time when he will sell the shirt to the final consumer, then that shirt will come in the category of final goods and good. Are you getting it? So this is the second concept of final goods and intermediate goods. The next concept, the third concept which we will discuss is the concept of stock and flow. Children, when we are studying about economics, we are studying about various things. We are measuring various things. We are measuring the price, we are measuring the investment, we are measuring the income, the wealth, various things we are measuring. Now, which thing comes in the category of stock and which is the category of flow, we will see now. Now when we are talking about stock, we are talking about the measurement of the thing at that particular time, right? The money in your bank account at present will be a stock concept. Alright, if I tell you that I have 10,000 rupees in my account, then I am talking about a stock concept. If I am talking about the wealth of a particular person, then I am talking about the stock concept. If I am talking about water, quantity of water in the tank, I am talking about the stock concept. Alright. Next is flow. Flow concept, when we are comparing this measurement of things with time, like money invested in a year, your salary per month, when we are telling you the values like per month, per day, per hour, per year, when we are adding this time with this measurement, then it will be a flow concept. Like wealth is the stock concept, and what is your wealth at this present time? Then income is the flow concept, means how much you have earned during the year. The water in the tank will be a stock concept, but the water wasted through leakage in a day will be a flow concept. I hope you have understood. Now we will discuss more concept of this chapter in the next video.